Every day, we get a little bit closer to the day when the last capture card is released. That one final capture card that does everything. One day we'll have it. I wonder when that day's gonna be. AVerMedia is bringing their lineup a little bit closer today, adding some new features. Let's talk about the Live Gamer Extreme 3. Brand new capture card in the AVerMedia lineup, essentially bringing their gaming capture cards up to the modern standard. So let's talk about this card. What's new? What's important about it? Let's also compare it with other comparable capture cards. If you are in the market to buy a capture card, which one should you buy? Cool? Let's go. Hey, did you know that AVerMedia has one of the most bonkers mic arms on the market? The AVerMedia Streamer Arm is the sponsor of today's video, and it's not really a mic arm. It's more of like an everything arm, because not only is it like the longest and sturdiest mic arm I've ever seen, it's also super flexible and versatile. It's got the strength to hold top tier serious cameras for all your unboxings, art, cooking streams, whatever. And the joints can bend in literally every direction. Like, I'm serious, look at this. So obviously we have the base joint down here that can turn any direction, but also this one can rotate. This is insane. Oh, and this one too, by the way, this can go just about anywhere. Anyway, this thing is both a regular arm long enough to go over your monitor and a low profile arm that can go under your monitor. It's got a clean cable management system, and check this out, it's got both threads for both 1/4 inch camera threads and 5/8 inch mic threads. So no more adapters. So if you've been looking for a beast of an arm to use on your streams, go ahead and check out the AVerMedia Streamer Arm at the link in the description below. All right, back to the live, I've already made it dirty. Back to, that's better, the Live Gamer Extreme. But let's talk about what's new here, because a lot of what they've added into this is in order to catch AVerMedia's card lineup up with the new Elgato HD60X, which was just released a couple months ago. Which is why I want to do a side-by-side feature comparison between the two in just a couple minutes. We'll get to that. But this has high refresh rates, this has 1440p pass-through, and most importantly, this has variable refresh rate pass-through. So if you're playing on a system that supports fluctuating refresh rate, this will be able to pass that through along to your monitor. One other thing that's fairly unique here is this has a line out jack. You see a lot of line in jacks on capture cards, not a lot of line outs. Well, let's say you're IRL streaming, or you're gaming, or maybe you're podcasting, and the simplest way to grab your audio from whatever your interface is into your system is just to go right into your capture card where it's automatically synced up. And you want to go right into your line in. A lot of us have been there. I know I have. This is a pass-through audio. So whatever is going into here, you can plug your headphones into the out and you can hear exactly what is being fed into your mix. So let's pull out this bad boy. Let's compare and contrast. I don't actually know what the difference between those two words are. Let's compare. Let's start by talking about the advantages of the AVerMedia LGX3. First one, probably the most important one, this card starts at $169. This card is $30 cheaper than the HD60X. So while there are slightly different features here, if the feature you're looking for is overlapped and they both do it, you can now get it for $30 cheaper on this and use that $30 on something more important, like food. I'm hungry right now. Second advantage of the LGX3, the audio out port that we just talked about. I know it's gonna be niche. I know it's probably gonna be the least used port on this capture card, but if you need it, only one of these cards has it. Lastly, if you're a fan of Rec Central 4 and their software system, obviously there's a huge plus there. I know you can multi-stream from their app, and I've heard that streaming to TikTok while you're live on Twitch is kind of the new meta. I don't know if you can stream to TikTok with Rec Central 4. If you can't, that should be the main place that you add multi-streaming to on your software, AVerMedia. Make sure you put that in. Is it technically against TOS? Yeah. But if you're not streaming to 5,000 people, are they gonna notice? No. Plus, I've seen people streaming to 5,000 people also streaming to TikTok. You'll be fine. All right, let's move on. Advantages of the HD60X. What are you getting for an additional $30 here? The big one here is that the HD60X supports some resolutions and some capture settings that aren't supported on the LGX3. For example, the HD60X can pass through 1080p 240 FPS, whereas the LGX3 is limited to 120 FPS. Again, kind of niche, not a lot of people use 240 FPS. However, if that's you, you know what card you need. The HD60X can actually capture HDR at 1080-60, Whereas the LGX3 can only pass through HDR, and at any of its resolutions, it can only capture SDR. The HD60X can not only pass through 1440p 120 FPS, but it can also capture 1440p at 60 frames. So while the LGX3 can also pass through 1440p 120 FPS, it will downscale your capturing to 1080p 60. Fun fact, neither of these cards can pass through 1440p 144 Hz. If you want a USB card that can do that, you'll need to pick up the AVerMedia Live Gamer Ultra. But those are the main differences between these cards. If I could draw a Venn diagram of what all the features are of these cards, it would almost look like a circle. There'd be like slight rims around the edges, and if you're in those rims, then you know what card you need. Other than that, a lot of it's gonna come down to preference. I like choices. Choices are good. Choices are great for us. There are always a few features that I forget to mention because they've kind of become commonplace and people get upset with me in the comments. So let me just rattle off a couple. For example, just like almost any capture card that's been released over the last couple of years, this is a UVC device, meaning it's plug and play. It works. You don't need software for it to work. Your computer sees it like a webcam, so it also works on Skype and Zoom and Teams. Please don't use Teams. It also works on the Mac. I should know. I just tested it out and it worked. That's great. Anyway, if there are any other questions that I missed, feel free to leave them in the comments down below and hit the like button while you're down there. If you're still watching, you obviously liked this video. I love to see the progress that's being made in the capture card space. Can't wait to see what the next big jump is. And as always, happy streaming.